everybody, to another episode of the Dead Film Critics Society podcast. I'm here with Aiden, as always, from GBD Reviews. Make sure to go follow him. I'm Daniel. I run the YouTube channel Reviewing on YouTube. I have a big project coming out soon. I might as well plug that real quick. It's a ranking of every Best Picture winner from the 21st century. Just in case you were wondering, that's like starting with the one that was released in 2000. So the technically Best Picture winner starting in 2001, which is Gladiator. But you'll learn more about that if you watch my video. So make sure to go check that out.
For the love of God, please watch it, guys. Like, this is a big project. He's putting a lot of time into it.
I spent a lot of time on it. Too much time. But it was worth it, I hope. I'm proud of myself, so I'm hoping you guys can enjoy the content I've made. Anyways, Aiden, as always, we have trivia. Do you want to start us off?
Yes, I do. This one's actually kind of a tricky one. I don't know if you've heard about this before, but I want to ask you, who is the youngest person ever to be nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress?
Oh, I don't know her name. I know it's the girl from Beast of the Southern Wild, I believe.
Yeah.
But I don't know her name. That's the problem. So
I have her name right here. It is very tricky to pronounce. I'm going to do my best, so please don't scream at me or anything like that in the comments. But Quovanzene Wallace? Her last name is fine, but I don't know how to pronounce her first name. I probably butchered that, but okay.
No, that's definitely...
she was also an Annie, and of course, 12 Years a Slave.
Cool facts.
One really great movie and one really strange one.
Yeah.
So, not in that order.
Annie strange, yeah. I was about to say, are you calling 12 Years a
No. God, no.
Strange movie? Because
no.
Anyways, so my trivia question for you, Aiden, is so the cinematographer on this movie is Sean Bobbitt. He's one of the better cinematographers, I'd say, working today. Can you name at least two of his movies that he's worked on other than the one that we watched this week, Judas and the Black Messiah?
No, I cannot, because I have actually never heard of this man before. Would you like to inform me on his works? I'm probably going to be surprised.
I would, yeah. So he's worked on a lot of Steve McQueen stuff, pretty much everything he's done, all of his feature films, including 12 Years a Slave, as we mentioned before, Widows, Hunger, and Shame. So he's done this, and he's also, and obviously he did I'm pretty sure there's one other one I'm forgetting right now. Let me check it out real quick.
All right. Well, I actually didn't know that. That's good to know. Yeah, I thought the cinematography looked kind of familiar. I thought I'd seen it before, but no, that makes perfect sense. Widows was shot very similar to that.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, for sure. I definitely see the connection, and I thought that was one of the better parts of the film for sure. I guess I can get into news real quick. I'll mention the film when it comes up. So we got Danny Elfman confirming he's going to score Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I don't love Danny Elfman as a composer personally. I don't think he's very strong. I think Michael Giacchino, who did the music for the previous Doctor Strange movie, is definitely a better composer. So I feel like this is a downgrade. But this is the highest thing that was upvoted on r/movies. So I guess some people like Danny Elfman. I don't know.
I mean, I think he did a great job with the first, 3 Spider-Man scores, like they did with Sam Raimi. I really liked those, and I think he was also good in the movie. Unfortunately, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. That's probably one of the only good things about that movie. But I still think it's weird that he was in a band called Ooga Booga. Now he's fucking doing the score for so many big movies. I don't know if you've heard about that, but he did did a lot of weird songs in the 80s with his band, but now he's doing this. It's kind of sort of like the mold that Trent Reznor did, I guess. He transitioned from rock and popular music into film scores. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I've definitely seen a lot more people who you think as traditional artists, like Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross. I recently watched Suspiria, who had music done by Tom York, who I believe is out of Radiohead.
Radiohead.
And it's interesting to see some of these artists that are usually independent of movies head into movies a lot more. Bong Joon-ho, director of Parasite, has confirmed he's making some Parasite follow-up films. They aren't sequels they will be completely separate stories. I believe one of them is also supposed to be another Korean film, and then another one will be a half American, half British film, and apparently that's based on a true story that happened in 2012, I believe, if I remember the details correctly. They're also working on a Parasite series with Adam McKay. I don't like Adam McKay. I love Bong Joon-ho. I don't understand some I hate when people I love collaborate with directors I don't really like, but
Yeah.
who knows? It's a series. It's supposed to be an HBO series. It could definitely be good. But I'm definitely looking forward to. It's interesting to see someone like Bong Joon-ho, who's never done like any follow-ups or anything to any of his previous works, do something like this. He's always led even Snowpiercer, which got a series, he wasn't involved.
Oh yeah.
I don't think he was really involved in that much.
No, he was definitely not. It's kind of more based on the French graphic novel that film was based off of.
Right,
I guess.
Exactly. So it's interesting to see him really ride the waves of his success with Parasite, even though it definitely makes sense because I mean it's the most watched film on Letterboxd. It won Best Picture, first foreign film to win Best Picture, so there's definitely a lot of hype behind it. So
yeah, I mean,
I trust this man to write good scripts, and if he's got talented people working around him, so I think pretty much whatever he'll put out will be great. I don't think it'll be good as Parasite, but there's the tiniest chance one of them might be. Who knows? There's 2 films. It's got 2 shots at it.
Yeah.
Anyways, we got a first poster and trailer for Cruella.
Oh my
Disney,
God! Yeah,
starring
we need to
Emma Stone.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and it's an interesting approach from Disney. I don't think this wasn't announced.
It's Disney's Joker. I'm sorry, there's no other way around it.
Most people, do consider it Disney's Joker, and like it's from like people are joking. It's like, oh, from the haunted mind of Walt Disney comes Emma Stone as Cruella, and people are making jokes like that. I
don't mind the casting. Emma Stone's a great actress, but I just don't know why they're going in the realm of like taking this as a serious, like, dark tale.
Yeah, they were like the trailer was definitely one of the more serious things I've seen for Disney, which I think in some ways can be good, but I don't know how you're gonna really like evolve Cruella into like PG-13 serious character, because I very much doubt this movie is going to be R-rated.
Of course not. Yeah,
because it's coming out from a Disney property, so I'm interested to see what they do with it. Obviously, this doesn't seem like the best premise, but I like Emma Stone a lot. She's a very talented actress, but
definitely not. There's no way of going around it. Like it's Disney scraping the bottom of the barrel here. Let's be completely honest. I mean, like they just have such a big. And they're so drunk on power at this point, like doing other stuff outside of Marvel that they just don't know what to do. So they're basically thinking, like, fuck it, whatever we put out is going to make money. So, I mean,
they are somewhat right. I think they have
origin story.
Yeah, I think they have like tried to hire some more talented people for certain projects. Obviously, Pixar and Marvel have held themselves to a standard that has been obviously profiting Disney for a while, and some of the Disney stuff like Rise of Skywalker, Aladdin, Lion King was not as good. But I think like they hired David Lowry, who's a pretty talented director who did a Ghost Story. I really like him. You probably haven't seen any of his films. They're very
he's doing this movie?
He's not doing this one. He's doing Wendy and the Wendy something with the
like Peter
Pan?
Pan.
Peter Pan. It's supposed to be Peter and Wendy, I think it's called. But and I mean he's done something like Pete's Dragon. Apparently some people like that movie.
Oh wait, he did Pete's Dragon?
He did Pete's Dragon.
I love that movie.
Yeah,
oh my god. It was such a fun movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they are hiring some good people. I don't know who's directing this one. I doubt it's anyone that notable though. So yeah, this could easily be trash, but I'll probably not pay for it. I'll probably figure out a way to see it otherwise, but
yeah, what Daniel really means he's going to pirate it somewhere, but it's okay. For reasons, I can't.
Unless it's free on Disney Plus, in that case.
Yeah. But they're not going to make it free. Like, they fucking charge $25 for Mulan. Like,
yeah, but
on.
No one paid for that. I don't know. We'll see. That's what I'm going to say. We'll see. Like, I don't want to judge something by its cover, but even though the cover is not looking too good, but it does have Emma Stone, which does make it look better, but...
Yeah.
Anyways, we got a Mortal Kombat trailer.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, it looks pretty boring to me. A lot of it's like I don't know. It's like it's a restricted trailer. It's like they were like that felt like half the purpose of the marketing was like look at this, we're gonna make a video game movie that's R-rated. Look at us.
At least it's rated R though. The ones that came out in the 90s, A, had terrible CGI, and B, were just so watered down. And I don't know if you've ever seen those, but they're almost in the realm of so bad it's good, But I just hope they bring back the kick-ass theme song from those movies because that shit slapped. Honestly, do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Mortal Kombat. You never heard that one?
No.
Oh, come on, man.
No.
Jeez. Shame on you. No, I'm joking.
Right. Yeah. A couple other things. We got the Raid director, Garth Evans. The Raid is a pretty cool, I think it's a Japanese action movie.
Oh, it was Indonesian.
It's a pretty. Most people like them a lot. He's signed a deal with Netflix, an exclusive one, and he sets Havoc as his first film with Tom Hardy set to star. So that sounds cool.
Could be interesting.
Yeah. Paddington 3 is officially in the works, so I think most people are excited about that.
Fuck yeah.
Edgar Wright is going to direct a Stephen King novel called The Running Man. It looks like Edgar Wright's definitely...
they've already made a movie of this. That's actually kind of cool. That was with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It came out in like the late 80s, and it was okay. You know, it was definitely fun and very quotable, but I don't know. I'd be interested to see what he could do with that, actually.
Yeah, sure. Lots of... He is yet another talented director who's going to direct a Stephen King novel, and I think... trying to think of the Frank Darabont and Stanley Kubrick, I think, are the other two who have made classics out of Stephen King content with The Shining and Shawshank Redemption. So I think Edgar Wright is definitely better than everyone but those two. So if he can make a movie that gets in sort of in that realm, even though I think this is going to be more of a horror movie, so it'd be hard to compare them. Obviously The Shining's a great movie.
It was more like a political satire, to be completely.
Because I don't know anything about The Running Man, so I don't know.
That's okay.
Political satire sounds interesting. From like Edgar Wright's never done anything like that, so I know he's definitely taking his career in a little bit of a different turn since Baby Driver.
Yeah, that's nothing wrong with that. I loved his earlier films, but it's good to see him expand. Yeah.
Jesse Plemons joins Leonardo DiCaprio in Apple's Killer of the Flower Moon. To clarify, this is another picture directed by the legend Martin Scorsese. Most people thought it was going to be Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro as the leads for once in a movie, but no, it sounds like Jesse Plemons is going to be the lead. Jesse Plemons was in the movie we watched, Judas and the Black Messiah, and he's also been in things like I'm Thinking of Ending Things, Game Night, a few other films. He was in The Irishman, and he's a really good actor, so I'm really excited to hear that. I'm really looking forward to seeing him beside some legendary talent, and obviously Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro. And I'm really interested to see what Martin Scorsese can create, and hopefully Apple doesn't boost their Apple TV prices too much once this movie comes out, because obviously they gave Martin Scorsese a pretty large blank check to make this movie. So
of course they did. He's Martin Scorsese.
But
that guy can do whatever he wants with film, as far as I'm concerned. He's earned that right.
Yeah, but most studios, he told the story about how most studios weren't going to produce The Irishman. Netflix was the only one willing to, which is why he was willing to go along with it, because obviously he would want, he's a believer in cinema and the theater experience, so he's called Marvel movies and such, superhero movies like theme parks, not really exactly real cinema. So I think he's he's had to take compromise a bit, but definitely looking forward to that.
Well, I mean, he's still got the movie released in a few theaters, obviously, albeit a limited release. But I mean, it's a shame that no one wanted to take a chance, because even though it is really long, and I've ragged on it a lot for that, I just have not seen it. So I've heard a lot of good things about it, but I mean,
it's really good. I've watched it.
It's clearly good.
It's good. I was able to watch it twice, which I can't. It's the most rewatchable film for me that I've seen that's that long. So I definitely say to check it out. We got Joaquin Phoenix to star in an A24 film directed by Ari Aster, who directed it's going to be Disappointment Boulevard. The project is described as an intimate, decade-spanning portrait of one of the most successful entrepreneurs of all time. So it looks like Ari Aster is going to stray a little bit away from his typical horror projects in this. But I'm much looking forward to that. Ari Aster made one of my favorite films of 2019 with Midsommar, even though 2019 was a stacked year for movies. He still was in there. I still haven't seen Hereditary. I'm very much looking forward to seeing that. And Joaquin Phoenix is maybe my favorite actor, potentially. I don't know if I'd say that. I'd have to think about it a little more, but I think he's definitely one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, he definitely is very good. I mean, I did. It's weird. I didn't know if I really liked Joker. He got obviously
but his performance is great though. You can't say his performance wasn't great. The movie overall is good. But disturbing. What made the movie good was mostly him, I think. He carried most of it on his very thin shoulders from the movie,
Yeah, man.
For sure. We got some first images of Harry Styles as Jack from Olivia Wilde's psychological thriller Don't Worry Darling. An unhappy housewife played by Florence Pugh in the 1950s discovers a disturbing truth while her loving husband played by Styles hides a dark secret. So
we already know why he's in that film.
Yeah, because Shia LaBeouf got fired because
also because Olivia Wilde basically left Jason Sudeikis for him. So I mean, yeah, that's really? Pretty tough. I feel bad for the guy, but whatever. Is what it is.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh yeah, that too. I did actually forget about that. Yeah,
Shia was originally in that role and got fired from it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's not been great.
She apparently had a very strict no assholes on set policy for both this Booksmart and this movie, and I think the results have definitely been good so far because Booksmart was a very good film. I enjoyed that very much. So it's definitely going from a teenage comedy to a psychological thriller is a period movie is definitely a big change, but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this for sure. Florence Pugh is great, and Harry Styles was like, I hate to say it, but like, well, I don't know if I hate to say it, but he was kind of the standout actor from Dunkirk, considering obviously Dunkirk didn't require a lot of acting, but like he did a good job.
Yeah. Did you know Christopher Nolan didn't even know he was in one before he cast him in the film? I think that's hilarious.
That doesn't surprise me because like I feel like a guy like Christopher Nolan isn't exactly like keeping up to date with like pop culture references in One Direction.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like he's not. I mean, like he's. I'm not. I don't want to say he's not like evolving with the. He obviously. He's also kind of old-fashioned, he likes to shoot everything in camera. He doesn't like to do a whole lot of stuff,
And he likes to shoot on film, and yeah, exactly. But like, I think most of his movies have been the better for that. There are definitely some good things about shooting on film and shooting a lot of things on camera, because obviously he doesn't have a lot of faith in CGI, and he is somewhat right with the types of movie he does. Sometimes CGI and visual effects could really screw up a movie like his that rely on them so heavily, which is why he wants as much as possible in camera so he can like see it for himself. And I kind of get that,
Yeah, I mean, like it might cost a little bit more, but I think at the end of the day, it's going to hold up better.
They're going to give it to him though, right? Like, like I think they're still going to give it to him. Even like he has an excuse for Tenet. There was COVID. There was a whole pandemic, so I think he's definitely going to be continuing to make movies like that. We got Netflix making Aaron Sorkin's The Trial of Chicago 7 free to stream on YouTube. I think. I think it's over now. I think it was on February 19th to 20th. I don't know. I think it was apparently the reason was it was the anniversary of the trial. I'm trying to remember. I think it was the 25th. Don't quote me on that. That's definitely probably wrong, but I think it was definitely the anniversary of the trial though, which is why they released 60s, it. Right? Even though to me this feels a little bit like a campaign thing. It's like they don't even have to send them screeners. They can just like everyone, including like anyone from the Academy, can just watch it on YouTube or whoever. Because at this point, all the voting started happening. So I feel like this is both a honoring of the trial, but also a way to promote their movie to people who are voting. And just to people in general, though. It's like it's the first time Netflix has ever released something for free on YouTube. So it's interesting.
Because Netflix is actually like I don't pay my own Netflix because I'm still a child. Well, technically, but like, you know what I mean? Like I still live with my parents, right? So, I do realize Netflix is expensive. So I think that would be pretty good for some people who just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe want to watch it legally instead of just, pirating like sometimes we do, but we don't
need to talk about that. Anyways, Keke Palmer and our boy Daniel Kaluuya is going to star in another Jordan Peele movie. It's been a little scary how much Daniel Kaluuya is on. A little bit scary how much Daniel Kaluuya has been in the movies I've seen recently. Obviously, he was in Judas and the Black Messiah. He was in Queen and Slim, which we reviewed and talked about before. He was also in Widows, which I watched this week and I enjoyed. And man, the man is an actor. I'm very much enjoying to see what Jordan Peele does next. Obviously, Us was definitely a step down in most people's eyes, and definitely for me from Get Out. But, I think he's got something going, and I think he definitely has a more unique vision and more strong vision than most directors who are shooting more bland films than he does for sure. And looking forward to that.
Yeah. All right.
I guess we'll quickly talk about a couple. Not take too long. I think we've been talking about news for a little bit, but We'll talk about a couple films I watched. I wanted to specifically talk about The Rider. directed by Chloe Zhao. So I watched her other film, and it made me think about how everyone nominated the Golden Globes for director except for David Fincher is only on their first or second movie. Aaron Sorkin's on his second movie, Chloe Zhao's on his second movie, and then Emerald Fennell and Regina King are on their first. So that's really interesting to see how many like new directors, even though obviously Aaron Sorkin's been writing for decades, have been stepping into the ring, especially the female directors. And what I learned from the writer is that she's just a really talented director because she's able to like, because none of the people in the writer are actors, none of them. Unlike Nomadland, like which only had 2 actors, right? Everyone else was just real people. She took literally just all real people for this film. It was able to create a story that probably was based on a lot of true stuff. I'm not sure how much of it. There's one kid who was like a bull rider who ends up being like paralyzed in the movie. I'm not sure if he's actually paralyzed in real life, and like they obviously show footage of him bull riding. I'm not sure how much of it was real, right? But I can probably assume it was because honestly, like this movie was so real, and the performances are great. I really love the sister, and it's like you used the real family of the guy who he's focused on, the writer, if you will. His name is Brady, and he's just a really interesting character study because after he gets injured, he has to reckon the fact that he's not going to be able to do any more rodeo anymore, but at the same time he just has such a desire for that, and that's like the only thing he can do in his life because he has no like high school education. That's the only way he made money for his whole life, so now he's not sure really what to do with it. And it's just a really powerful movie, and I really liked it, and it just shows that Chloe Zhao really strays away from the Hollywood formula. Obviously she's going to be directing a Marvel movie, but these movies have shown that she can work with pretty much everyone and create like a kind of new cinema that really collides like real people and like in story very well. And I think Nomadland definitely, I think I like this film a little bit better than Nomadland, but it definitely shows why Nomadland was so effective. And obviously when you have a world-class talent like Frances McDormand, you can obviously elevate some of that material to the highest peak level. So
of course.
That. I'll quickly mention Suspiria from Luca Guadagnino, who directed Call Me By Your Name. And I'm sending him my therapy bill because not only did this confuse and scare the shit out of me, the previous movie, obviously Call Me By Your Name, made me cry. So basically this guy makes me feel everything. But it was a weird fucking movie, dude. I'm not gonna lie. It was weird. A little bit it was definitely scary. So I think it accomplished everything he wanted. I personally don't love it. I think I probably would have more appreciation for it because it's based on a film that was made by Dario Argento in like the 70s. And that's like a cult classic horror movie that a lot of people like. So I think the remake was very interesting. Tilda Swinton's very good in it. And Dakota Johnson was good as well.
Yeah, 2 solid actresses right there. Yeah, no, they've always put out good work, with the exception of 50 Shades of Grey. But I think that's an anomaly. So yeah.
I'll quickly mention Widows. I mentioned that already. Steve McQueen. I think he's one of my top 20 directors for sure. I think maybe top 10 directors. Daniel Kaluuya, so good in that movie as well.
I told you, right?
That scene where they're in the gym. And his stare, dude, that you know the meme like stares motherfuckerly with like Samuel L. Jackson. That's Daniel Kaluuya. Like I think that's better than anything that Samuel L. Jackson does in Pulp Fiction. Like, oh my goodness, the rest of the performances are great. The weird thing was Colin Farrell's accent. He was trying to do an American accent. It didn't completely work. It definitely his Irish accent was definitely trying to poke out there. But it's very well shot because Sean Bobbitt. And enjoyed that. I also watched The Breakfast Club. I can see why it's a classic, but a lot of the stuff didn't work for me. I thought they really rushed the ending, but it's an enjoyable movie for sure.
I know for sure. I mean, like that is definitely a great movie. I haven't seen it in like a year. I think I think it's like that one. But I think for me, my favorite one out of the whole Brat Pack era in the '80s has got to be like what's it called? Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Yeah, I like that one.
I definitely liked Ferris Bueller's Day Off better than this film, for sure. Because I think it works. I think the comedy they try to implement in this movie doesn't work nearly as well as a lot of the comedy from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah, of course.
But I'll definitely have to watch that film and again. I think you said you'd watched a couple other things other than Judas and the Black
Yes,
Messiah.
yes, I did. Yeah, so it started on Friday night when I what's it called? I checked out that new Gerard Butler movie, Greenland. I don't know if you heard about that. It's like just about that
No, I've
interstellar
heard
comet
of
that.
it. It's on Amazon, right?
I mean, yeah, it is on Amazon. Like it's honestly not what I was expecting. I was expecting it to be just another one of those, Gerard Butler films that he's been putting out lately, like, with the, Olympus Has Fallen series, if you can even really call it that.
Okay.
It's yeah, those movies weren't so great. It kind of just made me think he wasn't really good at picking films. But I don't know, this one was surprisingly good. Honestly, like it's a disaster film, but it doesn't rely too heavily on that because it has a limited budget, so it only uses the special effects when it needs to. And the main struggle that it's trying to convey is that of a human struggle, and it shows the effects of this impending disaster on those like around the characters in the film. I think it's kind of interesting, like the route they chose there. I really liked it. It was a lot more subtle than I was expecting. And like near the end, of course, you get the race against time, but I think for the most part, it's not too bad.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I also rewatched Speed from 1994. I watched that on Valentine's Day for some reason. I don't know why, but nah, definitely that's one of my honestly top 5 favorite action movies of all time. I talked a little bit about this earlier. I love when they shoot stuff in camera, and yeah, they did this like throughout the entire film. Like they jumped a bus, albeit with a ramp. They just didn't show that in the film. And then I like all the action sequences. They're done very well. It's such a pulse pounding movie, and of course you got 2 awesome performances from Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock. And Dennis Hopper's like a great villain in the film. And it's such a fun film. I have it on Blu-ray too. That's how much I love it. But yeah, I just wish my family shared the same thing as me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's about time we get, unless you have another movie that you want
No, we should
get into Judas and the Black Messiah. So this is a film directed by Shaka King, written by him and Will Burson, starring Daniel Kaluuya, Lakeith Stanfield, Jesse Plemons, Martin Sheen, and Dominique Fishback.
Yeah.
So I saw your review this morning. It says 7.5 out of 10. I'd say you're a little harsh on it. I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10 because I'd say the film's almost perfect, as in like it really lacks any major flaws overall. But I do agree, like it didn't achieve as much as I think. Like I watched the trailer a good amount, and it didn't achieve as much as the trailer thought it would. Because Daniel Kaluuya, obviously, he's great, but I think I'm a little less hyped for him to win. He's still my pick for best supporting actor, like you said, but I think I'm less enthusiastic than I was like from the trailer, honestly, because the peaks in the trailer obviously are the peaks in the movie. He doesn't have any other better moments in my opinion, and he's very good throughout, and he's still my pick. But like I said, I think I'm less enthusiastic for it. I do think that Lakeith Stanfield though does do a really good job at like carrying the movie through the end after he's dead and through the time where he's not there. I think he does do a really good job at that, and that's maybe where we differ in our opinions. While you said that Daniel Kaluuya, when he was on screen, that was the time that only really you were invested. I thought he does a really good job at carrying the rest of the movie as an actor. And I think, though, you are right that Shaka King was more concerned with the character, enthused by the character of Fred rather than Bill. And the writing obviously does, but I think the writing does good a job of putting a lot of the drama on Bill of him betraying the Black Panthers, and Lakeith Stanfield performs very well. And I say the movie's maybe less intense than I was expecting in a lot of scenes for me personally. Just overall, and some of the more scenes, like some of the more action scenes, like the shootout with the police, and the last scene's very good. Fred's death, it's very well done. I don't know. What did you think?
No, I mean, like I said, I think overall it's pretty good. I don't know. I just was not that high on like Keith Stanfield, and I think he's a good actor overall. Like I've liked a bunch of his work. I don't know if he was as good in this film, to be honest. I mean, like I said, I wasn't exactly invested when it was just like kind of him on screen. I don't think he really has like that one, that moment that they always use when they're kind of like, shown like, your nomination for like an Academy Award or something like that. He didn't really have like that one standing moment. He was just kind of there throughout the film. I mean, like that's fine. Like obviously I didn't hate it. I thought it was very good conceptually, and I mean, like, Daniel Kaluuya's performance was by far and away the best thing about it. But I do agree with you saying that a lot of the best moments were in the trailer, and I was kind of surprised by that. Actually, I was like, I can't wait for more. Like I've seen all these great moments, and then film ends.
Exactly. I was hoping to get more out of him, and while he's still my pick, obviously, like I said, I'm less enthusiastic, and won't be as mad if someone like Sacha Baron Cohen steals. I'm pretty sure he'll still win the Oscar, but I think Sacha Baron Cohen could steal it at the Globes or a couple other places. I think some scenes are definitely better as well, and the score is used very well. I don't think it's very dominant, but like you said, it's like it's definitely a more unique type of score, but I think it's used very well in a couple of moments, in a couple of scenes. The best scenes, I think, were Fred's death. They take that, it's a brutal scene, and it's shot very well. Sure. And Deborah's poem, Dominique Fishback saying her little poem was very beautiful, very well. That poem was great. Very well written. Yeah. If she wrote that in real life, props to her. She's really good. If the writers did that, also props to them. Really good poem. Cinematography is very well. Sean Bobbitt knew exactly what he was doing, and him and Shaka King, I think they created the perfect tone and mood for this overall movie. I think this movie has a very consistent tone and mood for it's like kind of a dreading. It's like you kind of already know, because they have to play with the fact that most people, a good amount of people already know what's going to happen going into this film, and I think they play with that very well. And kind of just create this atmosphere of both dread, but also like, I guess, excitement overall in the film for a lot of scenes. The sound mix felt a little bit quiet in the dialogue. That might be my TV's fault or something like that.
I didn't notice it.
That's how I felt. Editing's well done. I think a couple scenes are a little too long. I think a lot of the scenes, I think the story's a little bit familiar, because in a lot of ways it is like a traditional biopic, but obviously the story itself elevates it way beyond something like Bohemian Rhapsody or whatever you want to think of as like a typical, I don't know what else you'd say as a typical biopic for sure. But like I said, the intense sequences weren't nearly as intense as I thought they were, and they weren't the best part of the film. Except the last scene, except Fred's scene, his death scene, I think was very well done. And I think they do a good job pacing that to make sure not any of the other scenes were more exciting or more intense or dreadful than the last one. But I just overall in the movie I didn't feel that tense. I don't know. Maybe I was too tired when I watched that. I noted that, but that's how I felt.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, I also kind of like the use of how they used the real footage at the end to show the real William O'Neill. I think all the characters like pretty much cast like to perfection as far as looks and mannerisms go. But I mean, I think all that was pretty good. But like I said, I still have my opinions on the film. But
sure.
What would you give it? You said you would give it like a 8.5 out of 10.
I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. I think it could be an 8 or a 9, depending. I'll probably rewatch this film at some point. It's something I think is definitely worthy of a rewatch, because I think it also doesn't. I don't know if the way I assess a film's rewatchability is maybe on its like ending, because like sometimes when it relies too much heavily on an ending or like twists and turns throughout the story, that's maybe tones down rewatchability, because then you know what's gonna happen. Like I don't know, but some films obviously work that very well. Like Parasite, even though it has a good amount of twists and turns, it definitely uses that very well. And it's definitely a rewatchable movie. It's really good. And I think this movie will have some of those things. Like I said, it really lacks any major flaws, and I think the story is almost perfect overall, because I don't think there's any, because obviously it's a true story, and I don't think they like screw it up. The pacing's well done. I don't think they do anything like, I don't think there's any flaws, right? But I don't think it achieved as much as I thought.
All right, cool.
I will mention Jesse Plemons was very good in the movie.
I did actually like him too.
He was very good. And
he's been pretty solid.
Yeah, he
went all the way from Friday Night Lights to Battleship, and now he's actually turned into pretty good performances. So I mean,
and he's going to be the lead of a Martin Scorsese movie, so that's when you know you've made it.
Moving up in the world.
Going up.
Good for him.
I will say I was really shocked to hear the thing about how like Bill O'Neill like ended up killing himself after seeing
after that thing came out.
Yeah, like I was shocked that something that impactful was saved for the after credits, and I mean it makes some sense, but like I was pretty shocked at that overall. I mean, I don't know, it's just like he lived with that for so long, and then he does one TV interview about it, and then that was, I guess, his breaking point.
That must have been the breaking point. I guess like that was probably the only time maybe that doesn't help some people. and he just like he couldn't take it because like all his insecurities, all his worries were just out in the open.
Like
and then
all of his I guess all of his guilt that he
he
was holding
realized
on to was
exactly
like
the gravity of what he did.
Yeah,
I think at that moment.
Potentially, but it was really shocking to see something that impactful be left for the last scene. But definitely a good movie, something I'll probably be rewatching eventually. The best film of 2021 so far, because it's better than To All the Boys and Malcolm Murray. So, you know, we keep going on that list. We're gonna keep adding stuff, and hopefully there'll be a good amount of films by the time we get to the end of the year. And hopefully, I think this will probably be one of the better of the year. I think it'll probably definitely be in my top 20 for sure. Maybe top 10. We'll have to see. I'll probably rewatch it before the end of the year. Maybe it'll be in my top 10 by that point. Who knows? We'll have to see what else this year brings us. But if you made it to this point, thank you so much for listening, watching. This is... Make sure to go follow Aiden at GBD Reviews on Instagram for sure. Make sure to go subscribe to my channel. I got a reviewing. I got a big project coming out soon. It's probably going to be released about the same time as this comes out, so you might be able to hit a link in the description to immediately go watch that video. Otherwise, it will be out in the next couple days. And make sure to go check out this movie by yourself. Form your own opinions about it. I think this definitely could have the potential to be one of your favorites of the year, or just favorites in general. So I say it's definitely a film worth checking out. I think almost all the films we watch are worth checking out, at least, because I don't except maybe California Christmas and The Prom.
Of course.
But I think some people can still like The Prom. I would have to severely disagree with them, but I can still see it. But
of course. But I gotta ask though, what do you have? What do you want me to watch for next week, man?
So this technically was your choice. I did persuade you a lot, but the Golden Globes are going to be next week.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Very much looking forward to that. I'm trying to think, because I think Nomadland got released on Hulu, so I don't know if you want and it might win some award. It's like the one big awards contender. I'd say we're gonna do an episode reacting to the Golden Globes. And I think beforehand we can talk about a couple of the films maybe that I'd encourage you to see: Nomadland and Promising Young Woman. And I'll also try to figure out if I can see... trying to think. Okay, I'll figure it out later. I'll add it to the end of this episode. I'll edit some of this stuff, but I'll edit that. Thank you so much for listening again, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.